You said that Bordeaux is facing major crisis.
Very often people will say it's just a conjuncture. So meaning that in a couple of years, things will recover. My opinion, it will not recover. I have data.
So drink more Bordeaux.
Yes, please. It's not a Van Gogh. Van Gogh is finished. The production is finished. But in our case, every year nature is giving us a crop yield, and it's nice. We have to drink Bordeaux. The trade is misunderstanding Bordeaux. It's especially the young sommeliers. They were saying, okay, in Bordeaux, the chateaux are closed, and the people, they look like selling cars. So definitely, if you come closer, you will see that Bordeaux is not like this anymore. Consumers, they know about Bordeaux. They would like to taste more Bordeaux, but the offer is very limited in reality because you have only the top names. But again, I can tell thousands of great wines in Bordeaux that you can buy from 15 euros to 60 euros.
Hi everybody, this is Agnes from No Sediment and welcome to No Sediment Wine Podcast. Today my guest is Jean-Pierre Durand, chief winemaker at AdVini, yes, estates in Bordeaux.
In Bordeaux, yes.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm good. Gloomy weather outside. It's
so happy to be with you all.
Thank you. So before we start, my very first question to everyone is, could you maybe introduce yourself to the audience and tell everyone how your wine journey started?
Okay, it's a long wine journey.
Okay.
So it started in Rhône Valley, close to Châteauneuf-du-Pape. I was probably 8 or 10 years old when I was making wine with my grandfather. He was the one to help me and teach me how to prune and how to make great wines. Then I turned into different studies and I ended up in Burgundy for 15 years, involved in vineyards as Clos de Tard or Château de Chassagne-Montrachet. Then moved back to Rhône Valley in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. I was in charge for AdVini of l'Oratoire des Papes. Nice bottle that probably some of you know. And since 2019, I am in Bordeaux in charge of different vineyards of AdVini, both in Médoc and in Saint-Émilion.
Okay. When we first discussed about this interview back in the spring, you said that Bordeaux is facing major crisis. So first, before we talk about the crisis itself, what exactly did you mean by that? So what is the crisis? Is it decreasing vineyards? Is it the pressure on growers, difficulties on primeur? Or is there like bigger challenges at play?
Yeah, there are many challenges. It's just normal. When you are a leader in any kind of activity, everybody is betting against you. And sometimes when you are a leader and when things are going too well for you, on your side, maybe you don't do enough effort in order to keep up this position. So we have been seeing different segments of Bordeaux production that are facing difficulties at the moment. That can be the regional appellation Bordeaux, but also the Grand Cru Classé that in the last years started to be more kind of speculative product instead of being wines that are enjoyed and drunk by consumers.
So you think that the main problem is that it has become a product that we collect?
Yeah, and the thing is you can collect to a certain point because rich people are not that numerous in the world, even if every year you have more and more, but definitely nature is pushing. You are producing a vintage every year, so you need, at the end of the day, to have bottles open. Otherwise, at a certain stage, it's like a bubble, and I think that the bubble has burst.
So what, in your opinion, has caused it?
Again, the thing is, if you go to different markets, and you are going around a lot, you see open estates, you see friendly people having made a lot of effort on their wine profile. Look at Châteauneuf-du-Pape 25 years ago when our new generation took over from our fathers. Châteauneuf-du-Pape was very often with a little bit of Brettanomyces or even a bit of volatile, and everybody enjoyed it. It was Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So when we started to clean it up, the first years was difficult because everybody would say, why is it so fruity? It won't last. And by the end, you see today, 20 years later, it's just perfect because the capacity of aging of a wine has nothing to see with all these bad things that we used to have in our Châteauneuf-du-Pape. But if you look at Bordeaux, probably by not being very often in contact with customers, part of the production started to be on the wine profile that nobody likes today. So since people have done a lot of effort, we are about 4,000 people in Bordeaux producing wine and selling wine. Of course, not all of them are on the wrong path. It would be stupid to say that. And today in particular, thanks to the latest vintages that we have, Bordeaux has great potential in a price range that will be incredible compared to Burgundy or to Chianti or to different places of the world. So there is big room for Bordeaux to recover from that bad path.
You talk about recovery, and I actually have a question here. So what changes, either economic or regulatory, do we need to avoid the crisis? You said that we cannot avoid it, it's already here, or maybe so we can mitigate the risks.
Yeah, so the first thing is to go back to the market, show that Bordeaux is friendly, that Bordeaux is a very great wine at every stage of the scale in the hierarchy. I mean, Red Bordeaux to Médoc to Saint-Émilion, Grave, all those wines today, everything that we taste from vintage 19, 20, 22, they're just perfect. So once you have the great wines in your cellar, it's much easier to go back to the market. And so now we are promoting all the winemakers to go around and to show that, again, Bordeaux is nice. Bordeaux can be very food friendly. So it's not a stock that you have, okay? It's a wine that you have to drink. And there are so many drinkable Bordeaux, not only in wine profile, but in price, that today we need to make people rediscover Bordeaux. And first, the professional people.
This is really interesting that you said it, that Bordeaux is for enjoyment and for drinking. I just recently, just for my YouTube channel, I did this. So I purchased a bottle of Petrus. Yeah. It's a very expensive bottle. And I would have never done it if I wouldn't have my YouTube channel. But the comments that I received from people, the price makes no sense for that bottle to be opened and enjoyed. Yeah. It just, like, I think it is not only, I cannot even express myself, but I think the problem is that it was so overpriced that for a normal person who does not want to show off, but just simply have a glass of wine and enjoy it, it seems almost painful to pay such an amount of money.
Yeah. But this is about 5 to 25 labels in Bordeaux. Just come closer to Bordeaux and you will discover great wines in Saint-Émilion in particular that are not Grand Cru classé and that you can get on the range of 40 to 50 euros. And that's, you can open a bottle of 40 or 50 euros. So the question is for us to make sure that the wine cellar are going to showcase Bordeaux in that range of price, you know. In most countries, when we do market studies, we see that consumers, they know about Bordeaux, they would like to taste more Bordeaux, but the offer is very limited in reality because you have only the top names. But again, I can tell thousands of great wines in Bordeaux that you can buy from 15 euros to 60 euro. And this is perfectly adapted for opening a bottle on the weekend among friends.
I absolutely agree with you. I think Bordeaux actually offers great value. Yeah. The problem is that we don't see it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the second thing is probably it's difficult to understand that for consumers, but the way the market is organized in Bordeaux, the brands are the brands of the chateaus. But those chateaus, they can go to market with different players. And so it's difficult to protect the margins of our distributor. And so for the distributor, when they build the notoriety of one chateau, they take the risk of this chateau coming to their market on a different way, on a different pricing. And this doesn't arrive with Burgundy or Italy, because in these places, the winemakers are selling their wines directly to the trade. And that makes a big difference.
So my next question actually was about the La Place de Bordeaux. And before we talk about it more deeply, could you maybe introduce the system so that everyone who watches understands it? Yeah.
Yeah, La Place de Bordeaux is a great network of wine merchants that are going around the world for centuries now. Most of them were connected with English companies or Dutch companies, and so they've established distribution everywhere in the world. The only thing is, because the chateau can go through different players and arrive to the market again at different pricing, it makes a bit of confusion today. And so probably the Place de Bordeaux will recover also by having exclusive agreement by markets for making sure that all their effort done for one chateau will be recognized and will be part of their profit as well, because by the end of the day, no profit, no business.
Okay, so you think that there still is a role for La Place to play for Bordeaux?
Definitely.
Because increasingly more producers are starting to work directly with the consumer.
I understand that it's a cycle, you know. If you look at our Italian friends, very often one producer will be able to go and visit 4 to 5 markets, but he cannot go worldwide. It's not possible. You know that I've been traveling a lot. It's not possible to travel that much to be distributed in 60 countries. So you need to have specialist people. And plus, as winemaker, our job is to make wine. So if you're not in your cellar, if you're not in your field, how do you want to secure your production, secure your wine profile if you are just around the world? So at a certain point, you need to have the support of people doing that forever. So they have logistics, they have a lot of salespeople able to do trainings all around the world. We just need to have more tight relationship in between producers and negotiators going together to the market. That is what we are organizing today with CIVB in Bordeaux.
Okay, but there's still also a broker in the middle. So we have producer, we have broker, then we have négociant, and then we have like people like me who sell wine.
So the question will be how the brokers can be adapted to the new way of working in Bordeaux. Because if the chateaus are going direct to the market, you don't need a broker in the middle. So that's why they are thinking very well on how to organize themselves. One point is, again, organizing allocations and organizing exclusivity of distribution. This is something that the brokers should do to keep their place, because this is an important role. It's difficult for a winemaker. Again, we ask the winemakers to do so many things. Look, today, this is not usual for me. So you need to be on Instagram. You need to do all the legislative things. You need to be good in geology, in chemistry. We cannot be good everywhere. And especially when it comes to negotiate for our own interest, sometimes we are too much into our product, into our wines. And so we are passionate people. And sometimes to have someone close to you able to say, okay, cool down, because your interest should be there or there. It's important. So the brokers, they have a room for them. And I think the best ones will be successful in the future.
Okay, so the system still...
The system has to reinvent itself, but each part has a room for development and has a role to play. That's very important.
Do you feel some resistance in Bordeaux now from people? Like, what is the inside feeling now? You said that you are talking and looking into ways to...
Well, Bordeaux is a big boat. We are still one of the largest region of production. And you know that in France, everything is connected because we are gathering means for promotion all together. So very often people will say it's just a conjuncture. So meaning that in a couple of years, things will recover. My opinion, it will not recover. I have that as, especially because the French market is declining a lot. It will be just funny for the audience, but my grandfather used to drink 1 liter per day, even more. So it's about 400 liters per year. My father would drink 180, I'll drink 60, my son 24. And that has been since the 70s. So the consumption in France is is declining very deeply, and it will not recover. So we need to export. And if you look at our export numbers in terms of volume, we didn't get any volume more for the last 10 years, meaning that we need to get rid of grapes, or we need to be better exporting our wines.
Let's talk about En Primeur. So my question is, I feel or I see that it is not working. It's not working anymore. It hasn't been working since 2010, I think, or maybe, slightly even before. So do you think En Primeur system is still relevant today?
Well, that will be only my personal opinion. I'm in Bordeaux since 2019, and the En Primeur system is based on tasting wines so young that you need to be such an expert to understand what the wine is going to become 3 years later, that already technically speaking, it's really complicated to do so. The second thing is it's a monetary system. So if 3 years later you don't get a better value on your wines than buying it livrable, so livrable means buying it straight from the chateau when it's ready to be shipped. Why do you want to put that money? Money used to cost less than 1%. It was okay. But now money costs 5-6%. So who can afford that to make small margins? So
or even drop the price. I'm sorry, because I think with 2010 was it that En Primeur it was more expensive than later released.
Yeah. And the second thing is this organization can be turned into work only on livrable, because anyway from about 10 years ago they started to do bouteiller. Bouteiller means to have a warehouse for your own bottles at the chateau. So they have inventory. So they have wines that are ready to be shipped. Start working on livrable, and probably we will recover from that.
This is interesting because when was it that the Chateau Latour exited the En Primeur system?
It's already probably 10 years ago.
Yeah. And a lot of people expected that some other producers would follow, but no one actually really. I think they're one of the loudest names currently, and the rest of them are still doing En Primeur.
Yeah.
So it seems that Bordeaux still believes in it.
Well, you believe in it till the moment you don't see transactions. And
this year
in particular was really bad. So part of the trade is saying that next year will be a recovery. I don't think so. I don't think so, because people that used to be there for investing in inventory, having big money for that, today they are putting their money on gold, on bitcoins, and not only anymore on our wines. And so the whole system doesn't exist if you don't have people willing to invest and speculate on it. Because speculators, they are just looking after rates, after percentage of do I increase my value? And because of the big names dropping prices, they think they are not going to make any money out of it. So why they should block their money on wines? The only good way to do it is drink the bottles. If you are super rich, drink the bottle, please.
I agree with you. I recently made a video and I tasted the Fort Vivant 2016, and I said exactly that. Like, you have to drink your Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And that bottle was just amazing. It was absolutely fabulous wine. You have to drink it. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just.
It's not a Van Gogh. Van Gogh is finished. The production is finished. But in our case, every year nature is giving us a crop yield, and it's nice. We have to drink Bordeaux.
But what would realistically take for En Primeur to become attractive again? So you said it's better to
change name.
To change name?
To change name and to say, come for livrable.
Okay.
And taste only the wines.
No. Okay.
I don't think so.
No 50% drop?
Not anymore.
No? Okay, so it's beyond repair. Okay. Another topic I wanted to discuss with you is about Bordeaux specifically. So we often, when we say Bordeaux, we always think about like these grand chateaus, and luxury. But at the same time, Bordeaux is also a major bulk wine region. So how do these two identities coexist in this area?
If we speak about volumes, because that's very important, the lower part of Bordeaux production used to be very, very huge. Right? We are talking millions of hectoliters, meaning hundreds of millions of bottles. This has decreased, but there is a change in what used to be the profile and the price. We used to sell Bordeaux to old people that were used to have it as part of the food. In certain countries you have potatoes, in France we have wine by the table. And so those consumers, they want to buy Bordeaux at 250, euros in a shop.
Empty bottle costs how much?
And so that leaves very little place for doing great wines. So these consumers, anyway, we cannot sustain them because, unfortunately, they are passing out because they are very old people. They are replaced by young consumers that are able to pay 8 to 10 euros, 12 euros for a Bordeaux. So definitely we have more means to produce great Bordeaux, even regional appellation. but we are not going to sell what we used to sell in the past. We used to sell 5.5 million hectoliters 10 years ago. We are selling 3.2 today.
Wow.
Okay, so that's why we need to get rid of vineyards, and we have to turn all these bulk consumption into great local wines, terroir wines.
So you would say that ripping out wines is painful but necessary thing to do right now?
Yeah, unfortunately, because if you keep in mind that if you have inventory, you cannot bring value to your wines. Viticulture, as a all agricultural product, you need to maintain your vineyards. It has a cost. So if you are not able to sell at above your cost of goods, you are just bringing the whole region down. So we need to get rid of some of the vineyards, especially those were planted in bad areas because it had happened in the past, or the ones that are too old to produce great wines. And then by managing this, we keep this land management effect of the viticulture, because viticulture everywhere in the world is super beautiful. You go to Italy because the landscape is managed by viticulturists and it's beautiful. You go to Porto, the Douro region. So we need to have that kind of approach also for enhancing our terroir.
So now, if I understand correctly, the vineyard area in Bordeaux has dropped below 100,000 hectares,
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So how much at what point do you think there will be the balance achieved?
That's a super good question, because as the land is owned by individual people, everybody goes at its own rhythm, and the market on the other side is playing. So it's offer and demand. Probably we need to get rid of another 12 to 20,000 hectares in order to balance the ratio. And at the same time, we need to continue working on our wine profile, less wine, better wines, and going to consumers to explain them.
What aspects of Bordeaux do you think are misunderstood currently by consumers or even trade right now?
Definitely the trade is misunderstanding Bordeaux. Really, it's especially the young sommeliers, because Bordeaux used to be managed by people with cut and ties, looking like car sales guys. This is from a survey we did in the States. They were saying, okay, in Bordeaux the chateaus are closed, and the people, they look like selling cars. So definitely, if you come closer, you will see that Bordeaux is not like this anymore. But to come closer, you need to attract the trade, because it's the trade that is going to put the wines in front of consumers. And again, most of the world wine lovers, they know about Bordeaux. They desire to get more Bordeaux, but the trade is a little bit blocked. But if you look at today the price of Bordeaux in each category, you look at a Cru Bourgeois of Médoc, of a great making, and you compare it to, okay, I'm going to be bad, but you compare it to Burgundy, Pinot Noir, quality is just fantastic. The concentration done to, because of this very high concentration in vineyards compared to a regional wine, there is no comparison. So everything has a cycle. So probably Burgundy or certain Tuscan will have to cool down a little bit with their pricing, so it leaves room for Bordeaux to come back.
So what I wanted to talk to you about is that I see Bordeaux currently changing. So many producers are shifting their style towards terroir-driven, low interventionist. Do you see this as a long-term trend or a niche movement?
I say it's a long-term trend, also because producers are visiting markets more and more, and so they see what the Super Toscan are doing with Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. And the second thing is, when you go closer to the top terroir of Bordeaux, you have so many qualities, intrinsic qualities, so we just need to enhance that. So we don't have to be so much strong in, let's say, in the tank. Too much extraction and then too much aging will do makeup of our wines, and we don't need that. Probably what explained that period of time is certain estates were so successful commercially that they had to expand their quantity of production, so they would have to buy pieces of land around them a little bit further, which is not their original terroir, and so by the end they were lacking of identity, so they had to put a little bit more work in the cellar in order to create an identity. But this is too much artificial. So you see more and more people coming back to 80% of the quality is done in the vineyards. And you get grapes in the cellar and you just have to bring them to the bottle as with a little intervention from your side. So then you can feel the place, you can feel the taste of this terroir.
And how has climate change reshaped the Bordeaux? And what adaptations do you see most effective currently?
So it's not really politically correct to say that climate change has benefit to Bordeaux, but it's a reality. Bordeaux is a very northern type of vineyard. The latitude is between 42 and 47. We are very close to the ocean, so we have this cooler aspect of the ocean. And now with the change in climate, you see that Cabernet Sauvignon are ripened more and more often. So we don't have this vintage struggle that we used to have in the past, because very often, particularly the critics would say, oh, that vintage you should avoid. So now we have more and more sun. The adaptation we have to do is, as Bordeaux is planted at high density, we have to take care of drought during July and August, because the competition in between vines sometimes is too strong. And if you look at the yield in Bordeaux, it's going down. We are just about 40 hectoliters per hectare, although we should be able to produce 50. So we have to be careful on how we manage our land and how we manage our viticulture in order to make sure that we can sustain a production that is very qualitative, though without hurting our plants.
So you said the density. So the regular density currently in Bordeaux is around 10,000 wines per hectare?
Yeah, 9,000 to 10,000.
Okay, so what do you think? It should go lower?
No, it's not. It should go lower. It's just that if you manage these vineyards plus grass in the middle of the rows, you have to be careful on how the plant will get its water, especially during July and August, which are very critical now in Bordeaux. Even though we receive 1,000 and something millimeters of water during winter, only the top terroirs are going to be able to sustain that water for July and August. So that's why you have to be very careful on that.
Okay, so we had a small pause here, and we have a bottle. So I will open it, and then if you want to, you can share maybe a little bit about it.
Yeah, this is Château Capet-Guillier in Saint-Émilion. So you know, Saint-Émilion has 3 types of terroir. One will be on the top of Saint-Émilion. Vineyards has Château Cheval Blanc, for instance. And then you have a nice slope, which is very close to Château Pavie. Beautiful slope facing southeast. And then you have a flatland going to the Dordogne River, which is only by sand. So Capet-Guillier is a very small boutique winery based on this slope. We call it the slope of Pavie. So regards to Mr. Perse, that unfortunately passed away a couple of months ago. But it's a very interesting part because it's a combination of clay, limestone and sand. And with this beautiful exposure, you get fantastic ripeness for the Cabernet Franc. So Capet-Guillier is today 30% Cabernet Franc and then Merlot. And we are planting more and more Cabernet Franc. So that is the adaptation of change in climate.
So you would say that in Saint-Émilion, Cabernet Franc would adapt better?
Especially in that part of Saint-Émilion, because in that part, the Merlots, they start to be a little bit too heavy or too fully ripen and get this prune kind of aromas that you don't want to have in the wine. Today, those wines, they have to be fresh enough to be combined with food. You know, we are French, so these wines should be always paired with food. And it's part of the gastronomy experience. So you have to combine the complexity of this wine with the complexity of the food you are eating.
Let me ask you a controversial question. Yeah. So currently we see Bordeaux changing stylistically, producing more fresher, like acidity-driven wines. Do you think... No, let me reshape it. So the style is changing, which earns really high scores from wine critics, but do you think the regular public, like everyday wine drinker, really likes that? Or they actually like that a bit of riper style more?
Okay. Yeah, it's fantastic. Now, the question is perfect. I was just saying that we are making wine for gastronomy. So we know that today a lot of people are saying you need to adapt your wine profile to be drunk outside of the table. It's okay. We do some of those wines in Bordeaux, AOP Bordeaux. But when it comes to cru, even if you can enjoy it by the glass, the reality is that combination of fresh style with this beautiful acidity and soft tannins will be perfectly matching food. For instance, Capet-Guillier on a chop of lamb, with a nice sauce with mushrooms this winter will be just perfect. So if you don't have that acidity with food, you will get something too heavy. And so when the wine is above the food because of too much wood, too much extraction, you don't have a full experience of gastronomy. So I think that there is a future for that. And sometimes you have to play in your field, meaning definitely cru classé, grand cru, all those wines in Bordeaux, they are meant to be drunk with food and to enjoy company. So yes, I think this style is going to be successful.
Okay. So you briefly touched upon like grape varieties, but what do you think about the revival of historic or forgotten grapes, such as Malbec, for example? Do you think they could also play a larger role in the future in Bordeaux?
Yeah, we do plant Malbec. So we have a second vineyard in Saint-Emilion, which is based on sandy soil of Saint-Emilion. And there we have a combination of Merlot and Malbec. And definitely the Malbec is expressing so much fruit in that part of Saint-Emilion. It's just perfect. But it used to be one of the main type in Bordeaux.
Until 56.
Yes, it was called the Côte. But it's a little bit capricious, so it's a bit difficult to manage. That's why probably people forget about it. But today, as consumers are looking for deep color, beautiful aromas, still fresh and vivid wines, Malbec is perfectly adapted for that.
So if you could redesign Bordeaux's strategy for the next 20 years, what would be the 3 top priorities?
Well, the 3 top priorities will be, first, we need to have the professional people together with us. So we need to have people in wine bars, people in wine cellars and restaurant people, understanding that Bordeaux has changed, that Bordeaux is great value for money, but also great value for consumer experience. So to do that, we need to have the help of people as you, as the journalists, saying Bordeaux has changed. And so we need to have more people as me coming, talking to regular consumers, but also to the trade, that Bordeaux is good. So it means that we need to have a lot of people going outside of the Bordeaux region to go to the markets and to do as the Italians have done for the last 20 years. And we need to be able also to propose experiences in our own vineyards. All chateaus should be open. So we are working a lot on that. And the idea would be to make sure that everybody drinking wine from 25 to 45 years old, not having strict habits of consumption, like I want to drink only Burgundy as the 50 plus are doing, or I want to be only on those wines. Those people, they have to be in touch with us to have this experience of tasting those great wines together with food and gastronomy, to be welcome in Bordeaux and to enjoy this beautiful countryside. If you do that, I'm pretty sure that in the future, we'll be successful in Bordeaux again.
Okay. How does AdVini position itself within the region, undergoing such changes currently?
Yeah, AdVini is a large company involved in different vineyards in France and South Africa. So we are based in Chablis, for instance, with Domaine La Roche, in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, with l'Oratoire des Papes, in Burgundy with Maison Champy. So because it's a large organization, but organized by small local organization, local people, we have a social responsibility because we have a lot of people going around the world, so we know about the market trends. So I think we can be one of the people bringing Bordeaux back to the market on the good way. So that's why as personal responsibility, I'm in charge of the promotion side of the CIVB. And the idea, again, is to make sure that we are able to go back and see consumers and see trade people with all our good wines. And if AdVini can be a part of it, we are spending time and money for that.
Okay. So we are almost at the end of our conversation. I have a few more questions left, but before we move to the more fun part, do you have something that you wanted to talk about and say something that I did not ask to you?
Yeah, well, especially for Bordeaux. Again, I would like everybody to open a bottle of Bordeaux in the coming 3 months, because they will rediscover things. To make sure we do that, again, we are working a lot with the sommeliers, especially at AdVini. We are supporting the international association, especially the boot camps, where all the young sommeliers are trained to be even better. And so they can get in touch with Bordeaux. So if you have the possibility, ask your wine people in the cellars or in the wine bars, a glass of Bordeaux, a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot coming from Bordeaux. And you will be very happy, you see.
Good. And I think you're right. I think at some point you mentioned that there's this great value and really high quality. And I think that it is so rare that we are disappointed in Bordeaux wines.
Today, yeah.
You know, like if you take the same price category, 20 to 50, it is so rare that we are disappointed in Bordeaux. And it is so common that you can actually be disappointed in Burgundy, because at that price category, you almost have to really look to find a gem or know where you're looking. Okay, so drink more Bordeaux.
Yes, please.
Okay, so what is one wine myth you would like to debunk?
Oh, that's a big question. One of them is, in every book you read that in order to produce a great wine, vines has to suffer. I don't know about you, but me, when I suffer, I don't know about you guys, but when I suffer, I'm not good at all. You know, and being a human, if I suffer because of warmth in the vineyard, I can go to the shade. The plant doesn't go to the shade. So the plant protects itself. And when the plant suffers too much, it will cut the feeding of sève, so the blood of the plant, to the grapes. And you see the green part of the bunch becoming brown, and so it's wood. And so the polyphenol are not ripening anymore. The plant is protected itself.
Yeah.
So a plant has to be managed nicely, because it's like a human being, but the plant cannot move. So please forget about this. The plant doesn't have to suffer to make great wines.
I agree. I completely agree with that. Okay, there's one more question, but before that, we will do a lightning round. I told you, so we have a lightning round. So let's start. We have 10 questions. Left bank or right bank?
Left bank.
Left bank. Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot?
Oh, that's a tough one. Cabernet Sauvignon.
2010 or 2016 vintage?
2016.
Why?
Because it's my first vintage in Bordeaux.
Okay. Buying en primeur or buying matured?
By livrable, very mature, you have plenty choices.
Okay. Malbec comeback or stick to Cabernet Franc?
Malbec, definitely.
Okay. Terroir-driven wine or house-style consistency?
Terroir.
White.
Terroir and vintage. Meaning that you have to feel the place and you have to feel the year. That's very important.
White Bordeaux or sweet Bordeaux?
White Bordeaux.
Pauillac or Mergot?
Pauillac.
Saint-Emilion or Pomerol?
Pomerol.
Transparency or mystique?
That's a good one. I think it's nice to have a little bit of mystique for people to come and try to understand better.
Good. We actually didn't talk about white Bordeaux, which I think is really, really exciting category right now.
Yeah.
And completely...
and Crémant as well.
Yeah.
Crémant, because it's based on Merlot, so it's a Blanc de Noir. Goes perfectly with you guys.
Yes.
It's a Blanc de Noir, so in terms of aroma, savors, it's just perfect. Very fine bubbles. Everything is picked by hand because it's in the Cahier des Charges. So going to be great bubbles coming from Bordeaux very soon.
Okay. The last question from the previous guest, we had a guest from Netherlands, Sietse Weijma, and what he does, he knows wine faults. So talk about your Brettanomyces, he knows it, where it comes from, and how can you avoid it. So he asked this very unique question. If you had to choose between drinking wine from a plastic cups for the rest of your life, or having proper glassware, but it is always filled at the very top, which of the two you would choose?
I think I would choose the plastic cup and really enjoy my wines here.
Okay. So do you have a question to the next guest? So
the question will be, when did you have Bordeaux for the last time? Which bottle was it? And how did you enjoy it?
Okay, good, good. And to every one of my guests, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Living through this morning. It was quite intense. Yes, and so maybe when it's too hot and you want some shade, you can use it in the vineyards.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.